Ladies and gentlemen, it's so good to be back on the Bloodcast. Could you, Mrs. Robinson? I hope you had a very happy holiday. And I am here, of course, with Marissa, and to my left, say hi, Marissa.
Happy holidays.
Oh, look, she sounds so fucking happy to be here. And of course...
It's the winter depression.
Yeah, that's true. It's already 5 o'clock and the sun's down. God damn it. And of course, exactly. And the one on the lowest chair today, Mr. Bo Mendez.
It's the most
sadly,
wonderful time.
I'll tell you why Bo's on the floor right now. Because we actually...
I misbehaved.
We're actually here on our third podcast, and we've got Solemn Vision from Brooklyn. What's up, guys?
Yes. Hey. Now,
we have those lovely voices.
Because of budget cuts, they only have 2 microphones tonight. And yes,
we're gonna make it work.
We're gonna make as you
2 microphones and a broken chair.
That probably didn't pick that up.
I wasn't aware we had a budget to cut.
We don't care about no Meteor or Gatorade.
Well, we're actually really happy to get you guys right before you go to Miami next month, or next week actually. Next week. Can't believe it. It's already happening. So you guys are going to Miami. You're doing this heavy metal beach party.
Yes.
So let's tell us a little about that. How'd that happen?
Yeah. Okay. I'll take the lead on this one.
So
basically, essentially, I had hit up the 70K people who attend the festival. There's a Facebook group, like, kind of forum thing going on.
That's
everybody just talks
70,000 tons of metal, right?
Yeah, 70,000 tons of metal.
2020
group page, and I posted. I was like, "Yo, like, who's in local bands that's always going on the boat? Like, it would be really sick to like do a show with everyone." Long story short, we never got around to it. Especially because like originally Aaron wasn't intending to go on the boat, and I knew Caden wasn't, so. It was just like I just never really brought it up again. And then Doro, who she actually always sets up the unofficial pre-party every year since like fucking forever.
The first one, I think.
Yeah. She sets up these awesome pre-parties in Miami before the boat.
You say Doro?
Her name is Doro.
Not that Doro.
I was like, wait a minute. What is this special relationship I need to know about?
Not Doro.
You guys just became my new best friends.
Well, no.
So what you're saying is we're not good enough to be your best friends right now.
Well.
All right, interview over. I'm out. Bye.
All right, guys.
Good night.
So anyway,
newsflash: a self-serving podcast. No way.
Exactly.
So anywho, so Doro decided to like bring it up and host the festival herself as part of her pre-party events, and she had a lot of shit going on. She really did a good job setting it up. She did really good setting it up. She had a lot of shit going on, and she pretty much put it out there for like bands to submit. And initially, we didn't submit because, again, as I said, like Aaron wasn't attending, and like it would have just been a lot to get us all over there for like a one-off. But then a lot of people kept saying our name, and we were eventually kind of asked.
That's awesome.
So like yeah, so like we have a lot of friends, and we couldn't have done it without them. I mean, it's just we have a lot of homies spreading the word.
It really was one of those, hey, can you get on this with?
Yeah,
and then we're like, fuck it, I guess we're doing it.
Yeah, you guys totally deserve it because you guys have been around. I mean, I think I've known you guys for about 2 years. You I know you because of Derek, but
I've known these guys
how long?
8 years, 9 years.
Wow,
Jesus.
Yeah. They all
in
have
separate
like,
projects, but like
separate projects,
in all their separate projects. So
this lineup.
You're about to say they all have facial hair. I appreciate you for giving me some hope, giving me a chance.
That's true.
Aaron has a mustache.
Aaron's got it.
I just have a mustache.
Very suited.
You said it out loud. You hear it now. After you said it, I just have a mustache.
Now you must ask you a question.
For our listeners, every one of these guys has a beard.
We're gonna lower the microphone on everybody else, including Aaron, before I catch an aneurysm in my brain.
You will be the I. You're in the Bronx. You're in the Bronx. You're like, this ain't not gonna be the loudest you hear.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's like in like Riverdale,
Yes.
Excuse me.
It's technically Riverdale.
Don't tell people where they live.
Yeah, don't tell people where they live.
Big ass area.
Trying to get this guy stalkers.
Right? All right.
Trying to get them stalked.
You know what? Let's put his address right here. It's right here.
Good night, Detroit.
Anyway, long story short, because a lot of good friends are also on the boat, and like we made a lot of really good connections.
Definitely.
Actually, I was able to help book our tour in 2017 because of the connections I made on the first 70K that I went to, which was the 2017 one. So yeah, just a lot of boat people happen to know. We call each other goat people. Okay, so 70,000 tons is a fucking cult.
It is very much a cult.
It's like you go once and you're like, take my money.
Boats and hoes there for
You
a
live
second.
by the boat.
No,
Yeah,
no.
we're there's a lot of boats and hoes for sure, but
Us being the hoes.
We're the hoes.
Carlos is the host.
Solemn hoes.
Don't slut shame me.
I'm not shaming you. I'm just calling it what it is.
Well,
As Marissa
Anyways,
is
we just
quiet.
had a lot of friends and fans in the same community,
Yeah.
and it just kind of worked out
yeah,
really
I mean,
well, and it was really good timing.
Yeah, every metal event like here in New York City, we see you guys at. You guys have made a lot of connections. You perform almost always. Lucky 13.
You think so?
Do you think so?
I don't know. You guys,
Please speak into the microphone.
You
That's what
think
they're-
so?
Ah!
I think so. I'm actually on the page right here. I see all your past events. Actually, you guys played Montreal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
yeah.
was that?
That was
was
so
fun.
dope. We it was kind of spur of the moment. We had trouble booking Montreal because we just weren't getting responses on the email,
And if
and then just we got really lucky with this record store, Sound Central, and they took us in, and we it was such a shit show because it was like this really humid, hot, packed out little tiny record store, and that we just like played the fuck out of it, and it was so
and it was
sick.
crazy.
It
Like,
was
So-
so
much
started a
fun.
mosh pit. in
This
the-
this
I'm not
show
even joking.
Nice.
this show in Montreal was the last show that we played on a little 4-day run with our boys in Dead City Crown. Shout outs to
Oh,
those
we
guys.
love those guys. Oh my god, those
I have
are
to
the
give a special
homies.
thank you to Caden because he knows how to use a fucking microphone. Thank you, Caden. Unlike everybody else that's talking out here. Thank you, Caden.
Hey yo, you heard that right?
I know. What's beef?
You guys heard that right?
Also, shout out to Alyssa.
Remember this episode.
Shout out to Alyssa Degani.
What's beef?
So
You guys heard it
Back on
first.
this.
it was
getting back.
Getting back on
it was
Caden.
it was funny because the day before the show that we played was this kind of small festival in New Hampshire that has the greatest name for any concert event I've ever heard. This festival was in Litchfield, New Hampshire. That this dude, I can't remember his name, which I feel really bad about.
Robert.
Rob, okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the name right now.
Yeah,
Go
he
ahead.
puts it on every year, and it's called Friggin' A Soiree.
nice.
And
like
he just hosts it
over
at
10
his
bands.
house. He has a stage outside that he built himself, and then he has another area in the basement, and
Wow.
bands play like all day.
Oh, that's sick. You gotta let us know the next time there is one of
It was really,
all of New
really
York City
fun.
descend upon Litchfield, New Hampshire.
And you would probably do it.
Shit, yo.
Was that right? Was it Litchfield?
Litchfield,
right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just looking at what's up here on the
and
tour
it was
page.
funny because it was in the middle of the summer. It was July. It was hot as balls outside.
103
And
degrees exactly.
I didn't even know New Hampshire could do that.
The freak heat
Right
wave.
before we went down into the basement to play, his air conditioner broke.
Oh,
Of
fantastic.
course.
Oh my-
Perfect timing.
And so it was.
You got to get that rock sauce
Like-
sweating.
We played our set,
Tartar sauce.
and
Tartar sauce.
as soon as we were done playing, I went upstairs outside of the basement, and I was like, I think this is the sweatiest I've ever been in my life. And then the next day when we played in Montreal, after that set was done in this record store, which also had no air conditioning and had like probably 30 or 40 people packed into this tiny little store, I was like, somehow this is also the sweatiest I've ever been in my life, even after yesterday.
Following this,
Funny
John,
note about
every
the New
member of
Hampshire
Solemn
show-
Vision had a six-pack just due to dehydration.
Dude, playing in that New Hampshire show was like playing in the hyperbolic time chamber.
I gotta tell you something. I've played really hot shows. Like we've done Vegas with Unbearably Hot in the venue, and so was Nile Gallery.
Vegas wasn't that hot. Like
I remember
I went
Niall.
on
Oh my
stage.
God.
Okay,
But hold up,
Vegas was pretty hot, but it wasn't as hot.
not as hot. I thought that was the hottest.
It's a dry heat.
Until
It's exactly-
no, in the venue, it was.
I was just gonna
You don't
say that.
understand. Inside contained on the stage, it was.
Yeah, because the
horrible.
venue's just full of just
Yeah.
like condensed
But,
dude
Vegas
everywhere.
was a high, Vegas was a really high.
God damn! I just called that.
3 times
Yes.
distilled essence of dude.
Yeah.
I need a button.
I would
With a sound
I would listen to a band called Condensed Dude.
Vegas also had a really high stage and like heat rises, so
Yeah,
it was just
unbearable.
yeah.
But in New Hampshire, it was the only show I've ever played where I actually felt myself fade in and out of consciousness while playing.
You're heard it here, folks.
Dude,
You went
I
on a
was
mystical
sober.
journey, that's
I
what
was
it was.
sober and I was blacking out on
my
stage.
God.
Hydrate
I
or
realized I
dehydrate,
need
people.
to sit the fuck down as soon as we were
Oh,
done.
man.
It was fucking. I was scared for myself.
Oh my
Actually.
god.
Anthony's mind was on to be continued.
Would y'all say this is worth it though? I mean, like,
Yeah, for sure.
as
100%. We
champions,
sold so much merch at that show. It was
like,
insane.
y'all are such
Yeah.
a hardworking band, and you're kind of champions of this local scene that's now kind of.
thank you.
Well, I mean, you're booking these shows in New Hampshire. You're booking this show that's coming up in Miami. Like a little bit of. I'm going to call it Brooklyn because I live in Brooklyn, but a little like a chunk of New York is just kind of like this New York metal scene that I don't know. Do people know that we still have one outside of the city? Exactly, they do now.
Yeah.
Dude,
So,
me coming from Long Island, there's a lot of people that don't even like. There are people that think I live in the city because I'm in this band.
Yeah.
We're actually one of the.
I thought you did live.
we're
I had
actually,
no idea.
So we're actually one of the
Long
few
Island.
local
You
bands.
can edit this part out.
Now it doesn't.
Yeah, don't lose all your cred.
Yeah.
Aaron just lost like 50%.
Yo, this guy's from Long Island? No.
It's actually funny. People in Long Island that you brought in to come see us, I think we're from Long Island now.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
kinda funny.
and it seems that Long Island has a little bit of a maybe not stronger scene, but just like
They have
a more.
they have a great
constant-
It's a
scene out
niche.
there.
It's a niche.
Yeah.
It's definitely And I feel like honestly, like one thing, like we're actually one of the few New York City bands that could say that like literally every band member is born and raised in New York.
Yeah.
One of us trying to defect though.
So
No, Kaden.
Yeah.
So fucking
Psycho Vegas over there.
Caden was born and raised in Astoria.
Mm-hmm.
Mauricio is from Mauricio and Anthony are like from down south, like around Bensonhurst, Bay Ridge.
Down south in Brooklyn.
I'm
I'm from down south.
down south, southern Brooklyn. I'm originally from Bushwick and like Ridgewood area. And Aaron's the only one from Long Island, but like
still New York.
Yeah, I mean
Well,
it's still.
You can't
So-
edit this
so-
one
so-
out.
Yeah, no, you can.
So you guys actually, so
Insert
majority
New
of your
York
shows
name
you
here.
perform here in New York City or in Brooklyn.
Not so much in
Or well, I mean, when you're not touring outside of out of state, so you do a lot of shows here. But what do you think? I mean, as a Brooklyn metal band, how do you feel like the scene is different compared to like Long Island?
Hey yo.
Wow.
Hey
I
yo.
feel like it's
Now Aaron comes in.
Hey yo.
Yeah.
Hey yo.
Hey, yo.
Lay down the
Let
stage
me spit
wisdom.
some bars real quick.
Turn my headphones up.
Straight from the top of the
Turn my
dome.
headphones up.
Give me your
I need my
headphones.
snare. I need my snare.
Where's my snare?
5 greatest interview responses. Aaron, and Aaron.
Spit hot fire.
Amazing.
You already know who it is. So
Getting back to the realistic
Yeah, so that question.
I'll be very transparent about this. The difference between how people react to bands, depending on where they come from, is very different. In my case, going from a band that was based in Long Island to now being in a band that is in the city, I could see that just in general, locals definitely just gravitate more towards people who grew up around, a block or 30 minutes away from them and such. Hometown bands and such. So when we play in Long Island, they won't be necessarily as into it, understandably so, as the local crowds from the city, right? But it's not to say that they don't fuck with it, because they actually like it and everything like that. But they aren't going to be as like outgoing and all like enthusiastic as people who grew up with us from around here, or at least grew up with them. And me being me, I came into this band being a fan, so it's like
That's true. I could testify to that one.
yeah.
Wow.
So I could see and feel the difference in between like how people react to Solemn Vision. And taking myself out of that band in the same way, I can also say that. So, it's just really just more about like, they just have more of a homegrown feel to it. But, again, not to say that we're not going to have those type of things going on Long Island, but that's going to be a harder thing to get to from now.
Well, also, you have to understand, too, Long Island has their own brand. And not only that, they have many branches of, genres.
So I think like from my experience, I'm
really
going to
do.
Long Island. It's been like more of like a metalcore.
Yeah,
kind
I was just gonna say that. I feel like metalcore is like they're a little more passionate about metalcore in Long Island. Hardcore.
They really
Yeah,
like
yeah.
brutal death metal over there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, well, not only that.
We can't discredit suffocation, internal bleeding for being the
cannot.
reason why.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
not
I feel like
only
it's like
that.
metalcore and like really brutal old school metal.
Yeah, not only that, but there's a pretty prevalent hardcore scene out there with Vision Disorder coming from Long Island, and I think Johnny Booth, and I think Counterparts is from Long Island too. No, Straight from the Path. Straight from the Path from Long Island. Yeah, so there's a really broad range there, but they just don't fucking come to the city.
Isn't it actually funny if you think about it, how close we are geographically, but our scenes are so different?
Yeah,
that's kind of why I wanted to ask, because like
comparison to like outside of the state,
that to me more has to do with there's a lot of people in Long Island that drive.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people in Long Island that drive, and they
fucking Robert Moses,
and they don't want to come into the city. They don't want to deal with that Robert Moses. They don't want to deal with that Parkway. They don't want to deal with any of that. They don't want to deal with the parking and such. So that's why they'll wait for a band to come out to the Emporium or out to wherever in Long Island, because
the Paramount.
Yeah, because I'll keep it real. In Long Island, it's very easy to be jaded and very easy to be.
Well, because you only have two main venues there, and they're right down the block from each other. You have Amityville Music Hall and Revolution.
And the last the last big venue that was there, was the Crazy Donkey.
Yeah.
And once that went downhill, it was like,
Farmingdale.
whoa, hey, where are you guys gonna go now? Because then it was like, okay, you can't go to Crazy Donkey. That's when all the fun fact, like
not as many good local spots.
After the Crazy Donkey, that's when all the bands started going to Revolution.
Yeah.
At that time, though, Ollie's Point, then Revolution.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And King, were you going to say something about Long Island? Because
I was going to say basically what you guys all said, that it's just overall it's a different kind of group of genres that people are really into.
It's
over
more
there.
of a mixture over there though, because their fucking local nights are absurd. They'll just throw in
on a weekday.
Yeah, on a weekday. Like come see symphonic death black metal at Thursday night at 8. You know,
how many some of my favorite bands have performed on Long Island, and they've always performed either during the week or on a Sunday when I have to work the next day.
I will say though, all that being said, even though I feel like in general Long Island is kind of into different types of music than what we play and than what a lot of the bands that we kind of, I guess, quote unquote, sound like play. I will say that we've gotten really good receptions pretty much every time we've played in Long Island, and that scene has been really cool to us.
Well, you have, and I mean, even the times you played Vitus in Brooklyn, St. Vitus, for those that don't know what Vitus means, but even when you play St. Vitus and open up for bands, you've had stellar responses. So it's just across the board for you guys. It's about obvious at this point.
Yeah. So. But we're definitely going to take a break right now. We're going to come back to this.
We all need more booze.
But coming up, we got some stuff we want to talk about. One of them being, what was it, Shinedown with Zach Myers talking about journalism today.
He was bitching about,
but we'll talk about that. We're going to take a break.
He made some decent points, but yeah.
Welcome back, everyone.
And we are back as we've procured more booze. Did I say that right? Procure, is that the right word?
Thank you.
That is a correct usage of that word.
Okay, good. Thank you, Merriam-Webster. I appreciate that.
Merriam-Webster, yo,
Webstar, yeah.
Yo, why are you guys listening? You got no lives. Like, how the fuck? Like, you don't want to listen to us?
Who asked you? Anyway, because Ancestry.com over here wants to put in his 2 cents. We just found out that the drummer is
Carlos,
like 1%.
Everything.
Carlos, let's be real. They're here
He's
for
one-
Derek, not for us.
Yeah, they always here for me. Anyway.
Yes, Carlos is actually more Irish than Anthony Rafferty here.
It's your liver.
I think it's just my liver, though, honestly. If we're being serious here.
You could just drink and
You're
drink
genetically
it. It's okay,
engineered
it's fine.
superhuman. The best of
It's fine.
the best of all cultures.
It's fine. Getting back on topic.
I was at some interesting reads this week, actually.
Please do not take Blabbermouth an endorsement that we hate them. This is just for speaking purposes. We still love them. Was that the Italian that came out of you?
Yo, he's talking shit. He's talking mad shit.
You sound like a dude.
I know what's happening, man.
You have no Italian.
Hey, Anthony, would you like to?
He doesn't have it yet.
Okay, so
I would like some Italian in me.
can someone give Aaron a microphone, please?
Hey, whoa.
That's what
Carlos the
is.
culture
He's a
sausage.
culture sausage.
Culture sauce.
So,
You take all the different cultures,
just grind it up.
and form
so
it into a neat
Zach
little
Myers
casing.
was
It's your
talking
little
about
chorizo. Okay.
Moving on.
Zach Myers was talking on Blabbermouth about how he doesn't read comments or do interviews anymore.
Right.
Well,
this
he
is
says-
Zach Myers, the guitarist for Shinedown.
Right. So he, when the first paragraph of this whole article got me because it really did it hit home because he's
Stupid
basically
questions.
saying I hate doing
The whole
interviews. Everything that I get asked is like straight off of Wikipedia. Stupid questions.
Yeah, no.
I got that. I totally got that because I've seen a lot of interviews and stuff like that online. I'm just like, oh my god, anybody with half a brain. Anybody with half a brain can say I went to school for
They could have
journalism.
just looked up the
But
stuff. Like, yeah.
then, touching on that though, what do you guys think about that whole journalism today?
Kind of-
as far as what you've seen lately.
Like surface level versus in depth. Like I gotta say, this made me think about if I can shout out something, my boy Sean Evans and the cultural phenom that is Hot Ones. The reason why I like watching the Hot Ones shows because they don't do that. They have a movie star on. Maybe we'll get like one question about the project or whatever. If you look at like an Entertainment Weekly interview, it's like, so what was it like working with this director? Do you have any scenes that were your favorites to shoot? Sean Evans doesn't do that. He'll do like the weird Instagram deep dive
Hanging
and
out
be
with
like, hey,
Shaquille
why are
O'Neal,
you
yeah.
here holding a meat tenderizer and wearing a one-piece bathing suit? Dwayne Johnson? Yeah, like please explain that. And like I love that. Maybe it doesn't quite fall into the umbrella as like journalism per se, but it's interesting. And it gives you like another perspective on someone that you admire or someone whose work that you're following. So what do you guys think?
You're basically talking about you like the fact that they avoid asking generic questions.
Yeah, avoid I like
generic interview process. In
yeah,
general.
National
the
Enquirer,
genericized
who are
kind
you
of
and
like
why are you in court?
who are you, what are you doing, and we can promote it or something like that.
Who are you and why are you in court?
Yeah.
I feel that
sorry
pretty
to hear
hard
that.
specifically right now.
kidding.
Because, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm in another band called Solar Seed.
Sorry.
The band. Wow.
Get it?
Yo.
Get it? Sorrow? Sorrow? Sorry?
Yes, it is a known fact.
so there is a disclaimer on this podcast. Derek just says shit.
Yeah.
that was like a-
and I actually didn't
That was
I
a
didn't
pun.
know
That was actually pretty clever.
And I didn't know that. So share a little bit about that.
Well, so in 2017, 2 years ago, we went on a tour with Sorrow Seed, and at the time, it was a band that we had played with a couple of times, and we thought our styles meshed pretty well, and we were cool with the people in the band, and so we went on tour with them, and actually myself, Carlos, and Anthony all ended up filling in for Sorrow Seed on guitar, drums, and bass.
What happened?
Because basically, right, like one by one over the course of like the couple of months before the tour started,
While we were booking it, and it was like pretty much almost like it was booked.
the bassist, drummer, and then other guitarist all like one by one were like, yeah, can't go on the tour. And it was like, well, that fucking sucks. So we were like,
Yes, you can.
basically the options are we cancel the tour because you can't play without a drummer, bassist, and guitar player.
At least you
or
shouldn't.
the three of us fill in. And
I
so
know,
we
right?
did that.
Again, let's give it up for Solemn Vision.
Clap for
one
me,
of the
bitch.
hardest working bands. Who the fuck does that?
Sweet.
It was fun playing double duty.
45
It
minutes.
was a fucking workout. It was a workout.
So
45 hours sets.
45 hours.
45 hour sets?
No, 45 to an hour.
It was a
back to
Soto
back.
show.
Yeah,
And we were
one-
playing like so. I'm on stage like 2 hours at a time.
Yeah, at one point I was gonna wear Lilith's outfits.
Yeah.
It got pretty crazy, but it was so fun.
So,
like, goddamn.
anyway,
that ended up with-
onward, and
Yeah.
full disclosure is Lilith, the singer of Sorrow Seed, is my wife. And so it, made sense for me to join the band full time when the guitar player that I was filling in for on that tour ended up quitting a couple of months after the tour was over. And so she and I did an interview recently, as Sorrow Seed. And the guy that was interviewing us emailed us some questions, and she got really mad because on this topic that we're talking about, like most of the questions that he sent were not even really about the band; they were about her, and it was like, "What's it like to be a woman in a metal band?"
Oh, the
And
typical
she's
question.
just like, "Oh my god, this is a question that I have been asked a million fucking times in my life, in every fucking interview I've ever done."
Google it.
And the guy was like, "Oh, I also see that you're a model. Does that have anything?" Like, no, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I'm in a metal band.
Can
And,
I
like, it's just
pontificate
all
real
this
quick?
stuff that you're talking
her
about.
personal
was
life.
all
It has
these
nothing to do with
really
metal.
like surface level questions that were mostly about her as a person and not about the band.
That's
And it just was very obvious that this person had done very little research, if any, into the band. And it was like,
Right.
we actually emailed him back and we were like,
It's so funny.
honestly, dude, these are really bad questions.
Yeah.
Like, can you
It's
send us some
totally
more,
true.
or
This
can we
is
just
what-
come up with
Try
some of our
again.
own?
Deal with.
And
It's
rightfully
ultimate
so.
stupidity. It doesn't matter. You can ask them, oh, why is it raining in Oklahoma where you're playing today? They don't fucking care to answer a question like that. They want something serious.
My biggest issue right now, especially with
They don't fucking care to answer a question like that. They want something serious.
I think my biggest issue right now, especially with like media, but also in metal media, is that
Oh yeah, we're talking
are
we're talking about the
actually
corporate
journalists and they know
media.
nothing about metal, but they actually work in journalism for magazines talking about metal.
Oh,
And
the
I think,
dirt.
a perfect
The dirt.
example was the
Yes.
review for the Motley Crue movie on Netflix. The Dirt, which I thought was hilarious. Well, it wasn't, it was just great, but it was really, really boring.
Hey,
And
I'm-
I didn't like the objectification of women, and I was like,
I'm gonna go on
Welcome to Motley
record.
Crue.
I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna go on record to say that Machine Gun Kelly is a better actor than he is a fucking rapper.
Yo.
Agreed. Cosign.
What does that do with it?
Wait,
Oh, he was in the movie?
in the movie?
The Dirt.
Yeah, he
played
telling Tommy Lee, right?
Yeah. He's a way better actor than he is a musician. But to follow up on what you just said, wait, did they actually send you better questions after you said something?
No, it was. No, he literally was just like. No, he literally was just like, if you want to like come up with some of your own questions.
wow,
No,
that's horrible.
it was literally like, okay, I can't be asked to come up with better questions, so like you guys do the work, and so I came up with
I'm
a
so
list of
sorry to
questions
hear
for us to
that.
answer.
I'm not gonna lie,
Caden
man. I
interviewing
really.
himself. So, Caden, what do you think about being in
Damn.
this band? Oh, it's really great.
But yo, I totally know how he feels because, hey, listen, Howard Jones over here, right?
Oh my god! You're in New
Dad.
Hampshire.
Howard Jones.
Nah,
Wait,
It
do
was-
they
it's like-
do they ask you how does it feel to be compared to Howard Jones or something?
No.
Like,
to be a black man in metal.
Yeah, to basically be black and metal,
Hold on, guys.
As if
Guys, would you
suffocation didn't have a
would you
bunch of
guys
black members,
hold on? Would you
God
guys say that we
forbid,
sound like
living
Killswitch
color.
Engage?
no.
Would you guys say that we sound like Killswitch Engage?
No.
No, no.
Everyone
But-
when we were in New Hampshire was just like,
But you know
you guys
what?
remind us of Killswitch
But you know what?
Engage.
say
But you know what?
that?
They're waiting
people
to
have
bust
never
that
seen
nut when
I
we
mean,
cover
not
End of
that
Heartache.
it's not
I
that
know,
it's
right?
an insult. I mean,
I mean,
it's-
I will
it's
say
cool to be
tonally,
compared.
your cleans do have a certain degree of Howard Jones.
Yeah, he sings too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like that's where the line's drawn. Like,
Ain't this a bitch that we live in a world now where our genre has probably only 3 black ambassadors, and they all get compared to Howard Jones.
And one of them is a cult of personality.
Oh yeah, Corey Glover. Excuse me, I love Corey Glover.
Yeah.
All right? And the other one, sadly, Adam Warren.
Oh, Adam Warren. Yeah,
Yes, Black Mario. That's
Black
the man
Mario.
right there.
There's that one point where Will Smith's wife tried to do a come up and that didn't work out.
Shut up. No,
We don't talk about. We don't talk about
Wicked Wisdom. Hold up. I'm not gonna lie. Hold on. I'm not gonna lie. Wicked Wisdom. I fucked with them.
Wow, you guys are weird.
Did you see them on tour though?
That was like
When they got booed,
Their
Ozfest.
stage show was garbage.
Really?
Yes.
Dude, they got booed up on Ozfest.
I saw them on like one of those like
You
TV
didn't hear
shows,
about
like,
that?
I saw them on like one of those TV shows like Letterman or some shit, and I thought it was fucking
Okay,
sick.
Okay,
I
first
was
of all,
14 so like
and had no taste.
So
and I
like
hated
20
it.
years ago,
Will Smith
when the
coming
album
for
came
you.
out, I high key bought it at like my record store and like. No, I actually fucking had it bootlegged. I didn't buy it at a record store. But like half the album
FBI's
was good, the
coming
other
for you
half
now.
was like trash. But those 4 songs that were like good were fucking great.
Okay,
Like she was good in it, man.
2 questions. One, I had no idea Jada Pinkett Smith was in a band.
I had no idea.
And-
You guys have to check
and-
that
No,
shit out.
it's Wicked Wisdom.
and 2, I'm
My
totally-
favorite-
Wicked Wisdom.
and 2, because this whole conversation got really aggressive. Can we move my dining room table a little bit over to the left, please?
Fair.
Wait, did it shift?
Oh, it shifted like the tectonic
Dear listener,
plates.
you're really
There you
getting
go.
a lot of background information. Like every
He's
time Derek
strayed
asks you to
so
speak into
far
the
from the topic
microphone.
at hand.
Well, anyway, yes.
Well, I mean,
Lot of
I
mercy.
think that's still related though, because like
about
okay,
interviews and
so
stuff.
we're talking about journalists asking
Stupid fucking
like
questions.
female musicians what it's like to be a female. Like,
Well,
Well,
I don't even
my
think-
personal favorite are female fronted.
yeah, it's
It's like why can't
yes,
I? Why
that's
can't I
what-
just be a vocalist? Why can't I be just
It's
yes,
great to
my
see-
favorite genre, female-fronted metal.
That's
Yeah,
a great genre of
it's
music.
great to see more women
It's really
involved
shitty,
in the
honestly.
metal scene and the rock scene. It's great to see that it's opening up to people that you wouldn't expect to.
It's getting more diverse.
But
The
it's
cool thing
not
about,
a
like-
genre, like
Okay, we totally just went
yeah.
from.
Speaking of 23,
we totally went for. Thank you. I know, right?
You're not
Shots
Carlos
fired,
today. You're
shots
23
fired.
and me. That's
Shots
it.
fired.
23 and you.
No, we went from.
I will address you that way. And
We
you'll
went from
respond.
classifying genres to talking about content in journalism.
Yeah.
And the sad part about it is just like with musicians, anybody can fucking do it.
Yeah.
But you don't need to have talent to be a journalist. You don't need to have talent to be a musician.
No.
You can choose the grade
I don't know
of
about that.
talent. You can choose the grade of talent.
I think it's mostly because of because we focus a lot more on metal journalism and stuff like that. So what we've seen thus far
No,
has
what
been
I-
very
At the end of the day, it
generic
comes down to work
questions.
ethic.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It goes in tandem with musicians. Anybody can do the things that we do. The problem is how far are you willing to take it.
And nothing has
You know?
been so disappointing than knowing about a band or a musician, and then knowing what they're doing right now, what they're currently doing, and then seeing an interview that addresses none of it.
Oh yeah, that's always the best
something that
part.
always bothered me. Like, if you're gonna interview me, if you're gonna interview me, don't ask me like stupid fucking personal questions.
Right.
Ask me about what's going on with the band, what's going on, what's our plans. Like, you
What
know,
does
like,
a chopped cheese in Brooklyn taste like?
That's a Bronx thing.
That was an
first of
actual
all.
question,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Even I know that.
That's an uptown
excuse me,
thing.
it's bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup.
That's
Alright,
what
no.
we have down there.
Yeah.
We got chopped cheese now because of the internet, but I never
Yeah.
seen that shit as a teenager. I'm
Oh,
dead
but
serious.
seriously, a lot of things that come out of journalism now really, really take the tone of what comments are posted on the interwebs.
Right.
And the sad part is, most of those people that are about music are trolls. That's the sad part.
Dude, not even that. I even
internet.
saw this this one
We know
podcast
that.
where they were basically pointing out how there are actual fans that'll go out to a show for bands or artists that they say that they like, they're fans of, meet them face to face, but still turn around and put like some headline out there that this person's really not what they saw in face value.
Oh yeah,
and
they're
stuff like that.
douchebags. Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the era of the hot take.
this is the era of the fake news.
Yeah, well, both.
Yeah.
Now I
language there.
definitely think that even stuff that's like beloved and universally recognized as being like good, people love to pop up and be like, well, actually, it sucks
Yeah.
because of this.
Thank you, Professor
But
Frank.
so,
That was actually
There's
pretty
nothing
perfect.
wrong.
That was incredible.
There's
dude.
nothing wrong with being like critical. There's nothing wrong with wanting the best out of the people who are making art, but like
We're fucking human.
yeah,
yeah,
true.
like, I do think there's a certain like one-upsmanship where it's like I have to have the hottest take.
Yeah, that's the thing is like it's not always about being critical and like, wanting the best from the people who are producing the art that you care about. A lot of the time, it's just about like what's going to be the most inflammatory thing that's going to go viral.
Not only that, but this is also the age of the first. It has to be up now, regardless. Oh man, Dave Lombardo likes jelly donuts. It has to go up in the next 10 minutes. Yeah. Controversial. He doesn't like chocolate. He's a racist.
Yeah, but then the follow up to Dave Lombardo likes jelly donuts would be Dave Lombardo likes jelly donuts from Pakistan or some crap like that.
Yeah. It has to be bigger and better.
Yeah, it has to be bigger and better.
And that's the bad news. Nobody we're in this life right now where journalists have to one up each other with this bullshit that goes on, these stupid questions.
Because it sucks. We're living in the internet age, and everything is here. It's right there.
I think it's simplicity too.
It's
because
value. It's all shock value. And whatever's gonna get the most clicks here.
We can't all be Howard Stern. I mean, let's get that out of the way now.
To get us something.
Well, anyway, listen.
Use
we're
the
talking
microphone,
about
Anthony.
Quick, everyone be silent. We'll put it on the table.
Quick, fuck up something.
Listen to the response.
Something really terrible right now. Get us all the
now, if you could do something really stupid, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, come on right now.
Like, you want us to get banned from somewhere, or
No.
Not that stupid.
Get us the headlines. Get us the views.
I mean, I already got hurt a few times, so this should count.
Wait, is my white power take still in there?
Yes, it is. Can you use the microphone?
And now it's in there twice.
And now it's in there twice.
We could have cut it the first time.
Well, guys, since we're talking about
That was not Kaden. That was Aaron.
Kaden.
That was Aaron.
Oh.
Listen,
Everyone.
since we're all on the same page here.
Well, listen, since we're talking about journalism and interviews and stuff like that, let's get to some questions about you guys. So you guys have a self-titled album that you released in March 2019.
Is Kaden a racist? We're doing it live.
Hey, Kaden, if you're white, why are you in Solemn Vision?
Solemn Vision LLC is a multicultural entity that does not endorse racism or bigotry in any form.
That was a stupid fucking question.
That was really good, actually.
Is that the first time you had done that?
Straight off the dome, baby.
I need to go home.
So
I am home. Good, stay there.
I know, right?
You have no escape.
Damn it.
Go to your room.
Go to your room.
Anyway.
Okay.
So, you guys have the self-titled album that you released in March 2019.
At Duff's.
And at Duff's, you had the release party at Duff's.
It was
Brooklyn.
a sexual
That
experience.
was incredible.
Good times.
That was fun.
You want to tell us about the process of that whole the recording, the writing. How did it start?
Oh boy,
Kaden?
it's a long story. You want to?
Actually, Mal,
what were the initial steps of making this album?
Well, first and foremost, I'm very proud to say that we managed to record this album in a matter of 6 days, over 3 weekends, basically.
Okay, so
And,
6 days over 21 days.
Yes.
Okay, cool. 3 weeks.
It was like different weekends, yeah.
Yeah, it was,
I know, I'm just being a dick.
There's that disclaimer.
There's that disclaimer.
I really, I do want to give a shout out to Steve from Four Legs. Four Legs. Unfortunately, that
Please
place
talk
is not
into
there
the
anymore.
microphone. Thank you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that place is not there anymore, but we were lucky enough to work with him. He was our engineer.
Okay.
Did everything on the album. And first weekend was all drums. Second weekend was everything, all the rhythm, guitars, bass. Third weekend was leads, acoustics, and vocals.
And so as far as all the songs, because I know this is an 8-song album. What went into the writing? Who's the lyricist of the band here?
Okay, so
that's
a loaded question.
So yeah, there's a lot to go behind that.
As we all noticed that Aaron does not have a microphone.
So really quick,
It's not that serious. It's not that serious. It's not that serious.
Shut up. Hold on. So basically,
I'm the one singing. You tell me to shut up.
So basically, I'm talking about
I'm the one
the
singing.
content
Tell
of
me
the
to shut up.
songs.
All right.
Basically,
all right. I see where I stand.
long story short,
all right, bet.
we had released the EP in 2017, and then we re-recorded the 4 songs that were on that EP,
Word?
and then recorded 4 other songs.
Is that what happened?
For the full length.
Shit.
Okay.
And then as far as lyrics go, Aaron can talk to you about
That's
that.
wild.
Aaron has the best Stevie Wonder look right now.
Go ahead, Aaron. Let's hear it.
So it's really simple. A lot of these lyrics, besides for one song being a Purge for Demons, all the lyrics were written before I was in the band. So
you did nothing.
I did nothing. 100%.
He definitely added his own like touch to the melodies.
Collected my check.
I walked in for the royalties. I walked out.
I came in, got my PayPal, got out. I am good.
So he actually reworked the hook for Parish. Those clean vocals. He kind of reworked it a little bit.
Reincarnate.
Reincarnate.
He
He did a lot of retooling.
The only things I did with the songs that were already done was maybe change up the melody of how they were executed.
Yeah, the cadence and
lyrically, most of it was all the same except for A Purge for Demons and Reincarnate. Everything else was predominantly the same.
Okay.
I actually liked Purge for Demons because I did listen to that before you guys came over. I was checking out the music on the Bandcamp and everything. That's one of the songs that actually stood out.
That's actually is that the song that you did for the music video?
For me, anyway.
Well, yes. The answer is yes.
The one you posted all over Instagram.
No, it's no secret. We were filming a music video. It's not out yet. We don't want to talk too much about it, but
it is that song.
But yes, it is for the. It is for
That's all I need to.
That's
that's right.
It'll be released early in the year.
That song was the lead single for the album. That one, I think I'm not surprised to hear you say that's one of the ones that stood out. It's definitely probably the most different from all the others.
It is.
It's the heaviest
well,
track on the
There are
record.
people that don't like it.
There are.
Well, it's
There are people that don't like
literally the heaviest track on the record. So like,
Hold on, wait.
that's why too.
Wait. I have to put something out here now. Aaron, before you say something, please have the microphone because you sound like you're at a city council meeting and you're yelling at the sanitation workers. Like that's all I hear.
Shouldn't have said that.
And,
We can also
Louder for the people in the back.
I love you guys. I know I love you.
someday invest in condenser mics that are omnidirectional.
Not my fault you came here broadcasting.
Laugh at me, bitch.
Solemn Vision is a multicultural entity that does not address racism.
Oh, this is it, guys.
Okay.
We're gonna get 3 episodes in. I'm gonna die. All right, hold on.
Okay.
We are in deep in our
fucking United Nations in this band.
We have to be some reoccurring guests though. So when the next time we come around here, we can do a better take it, not me fucking blowing out your eardrum.
I'm the one with the earphones on, so I'm the one who's gonna be deaf tomorrow. We'll be fine.
Oh, so
yeah,
you're saying-
they'll mix it. They'll
so
mix it
you're
later.
saying by the time we come back around, you'll be deaf. By the time we come back again.
Yes. I'll be talking to you like this.
So on that note, the songs on the album. So what we originally had planned to do, we recorded our EP in 2017, right?
No, we released it in 2017.
No, so we started recording in 2014. That
Caden's
EP.
also the fill-in and backup for the permanent
Okay.
member, Caden.
Okay, so for the EP we recorded in 2014 before Aaron joined the band.
Okay.
And I had recorded drums literally a month after joining the band, and then it was just a shit show
was like
of
the
things
end of
happened.
Well, basically
the studio closed down, member changes, a bunch of stuff.
The EP was actually 2015.
We started in December.
Oh, when we started recording, yes.
Yeah, started recording. That's what I'm talking about.
So the original plan was we were going to release that EP, which had the track list was Parish, Fortress of Solitude, Circles, and Purposeless, which was about like more or less half of the material that the band had written at that point. Because, even though we just released our first album this year, this band's been around for a long time.
We know.
Like
Yeah,
6 years.
I guess the question is who started the band?
Mao.
Anthony and myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started it in his old apartment.
Oh, wow.
Jamming.
What was it like?
Yeah, they started when they were
2011.
2011.
And now they're
Around,
38,
like March
so,
2011.
All right, so
And
you
so
guys.
there's
I
been
wasn't
a
even
lot
21
of
yet.
there's been a lot of lineup changes over the band's history, and a lot of different people have contributed to the songwriting of the songs that are on the album.
Aaron.
And
He's
so basically, what I was going to say about A Purge for Demons is that I think the reason that song sticks out is because that was, at the time the album came out, that was the newest song that we had written. That was actually a song that pretty much I wrote entirely.
Okay.
And
That's good to know.
I was, aside from Aaron, I was like the newest
I wrote
member
all
of
my
the
old
band
drums
at the time. And so because the album has so many different, the album has like 10 different people who contributed to songwriting or something. If you
Jeez, take
count
that,
all the
Periphery.
different,
If you look in the booklet, we actually mentioned that.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
like
Secret.
Microphone.
Vinny, Billy, and Jack all.
Take it from him.
Vinny, Billy, and Jack all contributed a lot to the songs that are on the album because a lot of those songs have been in the rotation for 6 years now.
I forgot Billy was in the band. Oh my god.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, so the first
Legendary.
song we wrote as a full band was actually probably Circles. That was like right after I joined and right before we recorded that first little EP. Because Caden joined like a couple months before me or something.
I joined at the
like
very
almost a year?
end. I joined at the very end of 2013.
Yeah, and I joined at the very end of 2014. So Circles was the first song we wrote as a group, and then afterwards came Purge for Demons. And yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay.
I just want like
All right, case dismissed.
quick little aside. I think the first album is, the album we released this year, that is cool
Spring.
because it, has all of these different influences from so many different people over the course of the history of the band and all the different lineup changes we had. But that being said, we're all really, really excited for whatever the next album is going to be, because all of the songs on the next album are going to be written entirely by our current lineup.
I love it, and actually,
Aaron.
I did want to ask about that. What are you? I mean, what are you guys? Are you guys working on anything new right now?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yes.
So our last show, our last local show of the year was at Lucky 13 Saloon, and we actually played
Last week.
Yeah, not last week. It was like a month ago.
Last month.
And like, and basically,
I got the last right. Okay.
we got to give a couple people.
I just love Caden's dance right there. That was awesome.
we got to give a couple people a little preview of what's to come. We played 4 brand new songs that are not like released or anything. 4, yeah.
That's incredible.
Jesus.
So it was like, so the live set was 4 new songs and 3 old songs. Just because
we've been playing for a little while.
Yeah.
already.
So
Okay.
2 were brand new debuts that had never been played before.
yeah.
Wow.
So we kind of did that as like a thank you, because like we've been playing the same shit for like a couple years, honestly. So like,
Well,
and
it's
it was
called
kinda,
music. That's what
I know
you're
it's-
supposed to do.
No, yeah, but like we felt like we owed it to you guys and like to our fans
Right.
or whatever, and our friends who always come out and have been supporting us since
I
day
hear
one.
that,
Like,
yeah.
That's
you know
true.
what? You're gonna hear it once, and then you're not gonna hear it again until we fucking record it. And like,
Whack.
It's actually funny.
it was kind of a studio fundraiser.
One of the actually, yeah. One of the songs that we played was
Like
a
$10
song
from that show?
that we wrote after our CD release show back in April. Like the next day, we went to the studio to rehearse, and we came out with a brand new song. Like
Wow.
that day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's kind of ever since then we've been writing. What are we on, number 8 now?
At this point, we basically have enough.
All right, Aerosmith.
Is there a?
At this point, we basically have enough finished new material to have like another full length album.
Are
So
you guys
we
gonna? I mean,
can-
will you guys be recording at the same place?
No, so the studio actually
Studio's
closed down.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You said. I'm sorry. You said that it's closed down now.
Steve actually moved to Boston, so
All right, okay.
we still need to figure out what we're gonna do for that.
We would like to use him for at least for like the final mixing and stuff like that if he's available. Because like I said, we really liked working with him, but
We're gonna
nothing's in
see.
the
We're gonna
books.
see. We're gonna play it by ear. Do
Okay.
whatever works best, and is gonna honestly just whatever's best for us in the moment.
I had a question now. So, I mean, I'm looking at your Bandcamp here. What you want to give us a little story on the album art?
Absolutely.
Who designed this actually?
So pretty much Aaron and I thought of like the concept for it, the general concept, and I did a really shitty. We'll post it sooner or later. I did a really shitty like little like paint like kind of rendition of it.
Microsoft Paint.
Microsoft Paint.
Can we get
like,
this
little-
released as like the special edition version?
Yeah, right.
the stick figure version?
It pretty much basically yeah. It literally like it was,
Bob Ross is turning in his grave version.
Just a text box that says
so
bird here.
I got a nice
Same
photo. I got a
song.
nice stock photo of like a forest.
The same songs, but not mixed. It's all raw.
I got like stock photo of like forest with like a little path in the middle, and then like
Right.
I just shitty drew the phoenix. So Aaron actually thought of the concept of the phoenix, and like he thought of the concept of getting it coming out of a wolf, and like I thought of the concept of putting like 5 wolves. for, like,
So, what's the
5 members.
significance of the 5 wolves? Is that like?
So essentially, it's
I just wanted to touch on that subject because we sort of had like the same concept, but initially we were thinking of having either 5 hooded figures
Okay.
instead
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
wolves,
yeah.
or the 5 wolves with like the ropes behind them, as if like they as if they morphed basically.
Okay.
You know,
yeah.
Interesting.
So essentially, what it symbolizes, the phoenix is kind of like our reincarnation.
Okay.
of the band. It's the same band, the same sound, the same music.
For those of y'all just joining in, Solemn Vision was once Spectral Voices.
Yeah, Spectral Voices.
So this release was timed along with the kind of rebrand, the refocusing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was rebranding.
Okay,
we don't necessarily need to.
That would be a
kind of all
Wikipedia
you need to
question.
know. Yeah.
That's totally right.
So it was essentially like just rebranding.
Yeah.
And like the Phoenix was able to symbolize that. The Wolves was just like the 5 members.
Okay.
Yeah, special thanks to the other band that had your name that's not doing anything with themselves right now.
Oh, whoa.
They recently
Solemn Vision is a multicultural entity.
No, Spectral Voice is killing it. It's killing the game right now. I mean, obviously right now, because Blood Incantation just released their album, so and it's literally four of the members.
Yo,
literally everyone except
right now.
Hold on, literally everyone except for the drummer. Everyone except for the drummer is in Spectral Voice from Blood Incantation. So they're doing their thing. So obviously they can only be one place at a time.
God,
So
I can edit this out. It's okay.
no, I'm just saying.
All right.
Anyways,
So on that note,
Well, getting back. So okay.
Anyways, so yeah,
anyway.
long story short, they had a very successful album and they're doing their thing and they're ahead of us because just life, just whatever the case is, and they were doing their thing. So we thought, you know what, let's play it smart. We've only released us EP and we're not that big. Like it's
Right.
One thing I'd like to note that people have asked us in our personal lives, like all the time, we did not actually know about them when we came up with Spectral
It's just
Voices.
an honest mistake. It's an honest
It was.
mistake. Yeah.
I just want to put that on the record.
Yeah.
That we found out about them maybe 3 years after.
What was your?
Long
so
Island
who
knew about
thought
them.
of Spectral Voices?
We didn't.
Long Island knew
No,
about
like
them.
for you guys as a band.
Say it
Like,
again?
so who
Aaron.
thought of Spectral Voices?
I can't hear you.
Sorry.
All right, wait. All right. Order in the court.
So I mean, so who actually thought of Spectral Voices for the band?
Okay, I forgot how that happened.
That's a Mauricio question.
Oh wait, I actually do know the story.
Merlin.
That was
So Merlin over there.
Mauricio Merlin knows.
this was because when we used to practice at a studio called Fastlanes a few years ago.
Oh, Fastlane.
Oh yeah.
And Vinny was in the band at that time. We had what do you call it? We used to play in this one room that even the people working there claimed that it was haunted. That a lot of people always like saw shit or heard shit in there.
Sweet.
So basically, one day when Vinny was setting up, like what sounded like interference was coming out of
feedback coming through.
was coming through his amp.
Okay.
But
It was the ghost
but because of the whole haunting, thing like going around with studio.
The room was haunted. So
Okay. All right.
So basically, like we heard like voices coming out of the amplifier, which was probably just
radio. It was radio frequency.
yeah. But Vinny, I think he had the amp on standby or something.
Literally jumped back.
So when he noticed, like when he heard the voices again after noticing that the amp was on standby, he kind of just like got a little taken back by that and like basically just took off his guitar and jumped off the stage. Just look at the amp like what the fuck, and then he just turned it off and I was like, hey guys, what about like something with like I don't know, vocal specters, whatever, like we were like just playing around with this shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, Spectral Voices, maybe.
We got some
And everyone
Spectral
was like,
Voices in the room. That's
Yeah, we got-
exactly
yeah.
what you
That's
said.
That's pretty creative.
That's fucking sick.
And,
That was a pretty genius idea.
And that's how the name
and
stuck.
it just kind of stuck after that because we were trying forever to come up with a
name.
cool name, and we were just shooting blanks at this point.
Yeah, because I always wondered about that. I was like, what was the
So
first drama?
that's how we got the name. So that's also why we got like really offended like years later. We were like, oh, you guys stole the name. And I was like, dude, we didn't even know who these guys
And
were.
to be fair, none of the guys in the band ever came at us like that. It was like random
They're fans.
people who were like fans of theirs that came at
Their
us with
fans
like
were just being
angry
assholes.
energy. We never got any kind of stuff like that from them.
And
Like
it's an honest mistake.
I don't-
Actually,
It is.
we
Bring out
opened
the big
for
ghost energy.
Blood Incantation a couple months ago, and like
those guys are super cool.
Blood Incantation and Immolation, we were direct support, and like they're actually super fucking cool. And I actually talked to one of the members about it. And he was just like, we were just laughing about it, and he was just like, I was like, yeah, we want to change our name. He's like, yeah, I know exactly who you guys are. He was like, and he was like, you know what, I appreciate that. And like it was like, you know what, like it was like we were getting their spam mail. Like,
So
that's how bad it
for
was.
that,
Like,
you guys
it
are
was-
kind of a big deal.
like we were getting their spam. Like that's how bad it was. Like
indication where like sometimes the scene kind of grows beyond what's going on with the bands. So like these two bands with very similar names
from
were totally
opposite sides of the fucking country. They're from Colorado,
Right.
And like we came out around the same time.
Yeah.
and it was just
Oh,
Yeah.
I
It's
just thought of
that
something
kind of
real quick.
mistake.
Just since you were talking about the artwork earlier, can we just give a shout out to
oh yeah.
boy
So Joe,
who did the artwork?
Josas Viana on Instagram. He used to
Say
do
that clearer,
tattoo.
please, because all I
sorry.
heard was jazz.
Jesus Viana.
Josus Viana. Yeah,
Josus
S-U-S.
Viana.
Yeah. So he actually
Wait, what the hell?
Anyway, so he's actually
asking why is he so Indiana, and I'm
exactly. Actually, he's a incredibly talented painter. Actually.
Talented? Yeah, he's incredibly talented.
Shut up. He's an incredibly talented painter, and like his shit it's just fucking super. Like he actually our artwork was a little out of his comfort zone because the shit he paints looks like some Silent Hill crazy ass fucking shit. Like it's incredible. He'll do these huge canvas paintings that look just insane. I know it was really cool for him to just come through for us and like do it.
Mm-hmm.
So when Carlos and Aaron first came up with the concept for the album art and they were talking about the idea that they had in mind, I was like, this is a really cool idea, but it needs to be like executed right, because the whole thing with like the wolves and the phoenix, like if it's done in the wrong style, it could also end up being really corny looking, you know?
Right, yeah.
And so I wasn't skeptical about the idea itself, but I was skeptical about like someone who could execute it in the right way that would end up actually making it look cool and not like kind of silly, you know? And he really just fucking nailed it when he sent us the first draft. I was totally blown away.
He had some small details, like so on the back of the album where we have like the names of the songs listed, it shows kind of like a leftover like campfire and just like some smoke and soot.
I see that here.
Like and it was really cool because if you look at it, there's details. You see little footprints, like the wolves like just dispersed and stuff on the bottom, which is like really fucking cool.
Notice that.
Like, yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. I was like, you gotta see my face. I'm like, what? One thing I also want to add, if you actually own the album or if you're planning on buying it, if you read the lyrics to Reincarnate, it actually matches the album art. I'm not going to say anything more to that, but it's actually pretty cool if you
Interesting.
There's nothing more to say. That's about it.
So, I mean,
say more.
That's your homework.
Give it all away.
What were some of the I know.
So we use
my dining table.
We've got that cute little who's like, I never.
But we use the back of the album art, the backside for our koozies. For the base for our koozies.
And you never noticed you've been drinking with this thing for the past hour and a half.
I never noticed those footprints. It's so cool.
So what were some of the things, or what were some of the concepts or topics that you guys touched on these songs?
Because that'll be for Mauricio and Aaron to really answer.
Give me your mic.
Now you want to speak first on that? A lot of these songs are from way back in the day.
Long time ago.
A real long time ago.
Feel me.
Baby.
Hell, Mary. Go home.
Smell like noodle.
I mean, I only really contributed lyrics to 2 songs, which is Soul Impaled and Purposeless. I guess it's just sad boy shit.
Sad boy.
Hey, we got that sad life.
Hashtag sad boy music. Sad boy metal. Hashtag drunk text my ex metal.
Hashtag it does rain every day.
It's window soul metal.
Does rain all the
That's what we call it.
Window soul metal.
So
Jesus.
Purposeless to me was that was actually more of a very angry song. I was just going through some shit at that point and just dealing with depression a lot. So I chose to write it out more in a way of more of anger than sadness, I guess. Okay. And Soul Impaled was a concept song, basically about someone that was a piece of shit in their life, and when they died, they were sort of like stuck in limbo as I guess part of their punishment. So that was a song that me and the first vocalist Jack Graves worked on. We wrote it out in a single night, but we try to write it out as best as possible. Like, I like writing, but it is difficult, so I am very glad we have a singer that writes very well.
Yay, Aaron.
Well, those songs, like he just mentioned, I didn't write those songs.
Boo, Aaron.
What I did write, like I said, was a Perch for Demons, which was a very, I guess,
the single,
like angst, song. There wasn't really a message behind it besides, hey, I like, I like metal. Here's why I like metal. Blah blah blah. And then Reincarnate was just redoing what was already done. Okay. Which I guess can still be a form of reincarnation.
Yeah.
Bars.
The lyrics were
Yeah.
The lyrics were reincarnated. Yeah.
And on that note, we're gonna reincarnate a break because it's been 40 minutes.
Ooh.
And
Yo,
here-
everybody wait for Derek's new fucking EP about to drop soon. His first mixtape called Reincarnate.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Not a motion.
It's like your new EP called "Come On, Son."
I just want more beer. I'm out of beer, but no.
Crack another one, boy.
They don't need no one left.
And what the hell was
That
that?
was my best boomhauer for Bo. Who else?
Why do I get the boom?
Because you're from Texas. That's why.
Oh shit!
And we.
Damn, he threw him under the tumbleweed.
And we will be right back.
Well, no, we won't.
Maybe. No, we won't. And we're back, and somehow we're still alive and wondering why we're still here. Marissa, could you care to answer that question?
Welcome to the Relapse Club.
There's a lot of beer.
No.
Yes.
There's a lot of beer in
Welcome to
pizza.
Solemn Vision. If that's your question,
If that's your answer, yeah, that's a great answer.
I know exactly what I said.
Welcome back, Solemn Vision. How are you?
The answer to your question no one asked.
That's exactly why people.
Hey,
are still
welcome
here.
back, folks, to another episode of Solemn Vision with these guys.
We're still hanging out, and there's still plenty of
So
beer to
the
drink.
show's new name is Vision Lines. I'm just gonna
Vision
Vision
Lines.
Lines.
Solemn Vision featuring Bloodlines.
Solemn Lines.
Solemn Blood.
So we're back on the Bloodcast, and is everybody good?
As opposed to the Cripcast.
Cripcast.
God damn it, Aaron.
Let's
We're from Brooklyn. Please.
Aaron, I see what you did there.
moving.
Solemn Vision is a law-abiding entity that does not endorse gang-related activity of any form.
No, we're Solemn Vision for a reason.
As you can clearly see, people, we are all having a good time, and we're all pretty, I know, I'm having a great time.
guys, I gotta ask you something. Let's talk about record labels.
No.
Yes, that's important.
I'm about it. I'm here for
Oh
it.
Lord.
So let's talk about it. I mean, we haven't really. I mean, we have so many great bands here in New York City, metal bands, and they had a lot.
Stop lying. No, we don't.
We haven't seen a signing,
Derek,
like
be
a
nice.
record label signing, since 2014. That's a sign.
Because I see. Haha.
So what do you guys feel about that? I mean, are you currently shopping around for labels, or how do you feel about, or do you want to be independent?
so-
Well, can I add something to that
go
real
ahead.
quick? Because this is so I'm probably have to check out here in a little bit, but this is a question I'm very much invested in as another musician myself. So you're asking like are they looking? What do they feel about the fact that we haven't had as much major label attention from local bands here? My question is, do we need it?
That's right.
Like,
Yes.
what does the state of the industry say about
because
local bands?
my take on that too is a lot of bands prefer to be independent.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm
all
gonna-
those questions. Go.
I want Carl's answer first.
so the thing. the
Answer
thing
different
about-
from ours.
Okay.
Carlos is the only one that still has.
So the thing.
answer.
So the thing about labels. I mean, obviously they're not
Carlos
for
answering
everyone.
right now.
Some people do an incredible job without labels. Some people work really well with labels, and the label does a lot for them. I mean, it all at the end of the day comes down to what you can offer them and what they can offer you in return. Regardless, like labels are business. They're here to make money off the bands. Like, I mean, obviously it's in their best interest to help you out and help you do better. But also they do like take a lot from the bands
Right.
that are signed, especially if
We
you're
take
new.
name rights and
it's a
stuff like
different
that.
So it's a different story when like you're an established musician, maybe like someone from like a really huge band has like a side project or whatever, that's a completely different story because they have a lot of trust in them and they're gonna work out a deal where they don't take as much as far as like the music rights and things like that and like percentages, but because they have faith that their shit will sell. So it's just the thing is like labels are always taking a risk when it comes to bands, and some bands will actually make a lot more money by just doing their own thing and investing their money in themselves rather than having like a label. But it's just it's a really broad spectrum. It's differs from case to case. It depends. Like some people financially they're able to back themselves and then make all their money back. Yeah, and they can they can just make all their money right back that they're investing into it. Some people unfortunately don't have that kind of money and they need a label to, set them up. But the problem with new bands and getting a label is the label's not going to sign up for a one-off. Like they're usually that's a shitty investment. They're gonna
it's a caveat emptor.
They're gonna make their money off of like the later albums after making that first album big, and like it's really complicated. Us personally,
Carlos is antsy as he plays.
That little laugh was a mental breakdown.
Yeah, exactly. So us personally, we're kind of a little everywhere as far as the label thing goes. Like we don't. If a good opportunity rises, like obviously, like we're both looking, but also
not right now.
We're gonna be cautious about what we find and what we see.
Right.
Because I feel like in the future we're gonna have a lot to offer, but we don't want to just sell that all away.
Like ideally, I would love for us to be on a label, but ideally I would love for us to be on a label, but at the moment as we are, I don't think it's the best idea. I feel like after maybe the next release, or even before we release it, we'll see what happens
before the next release.
Before Iron Maiden puts out a new record, you'll be signed.
Whatever. Just right now where we are at this very moment, it would be stupid to shop around.
Well, also, like the way things are now, it's like it's not like the old days. Like it's possible to be successful as an independent band. Like back in the day, like you needed to have the backing from a label. There was no other way to make it as a musician. And that's not the way things are now, because with the way technology and the internet and social media has progressed, it's really, really easy to record very high quality music completely independently from your home with nothing but your own computer. And it's really easy.
Doing it here.
Yeah. And it's really easy to get that music out there on the internet and promote it completely on your own with no help from anyone in, with a label that has big money or whatever. Obviously, it's more effective to have a ton of money behind what you're doing, but you can do all of the stuff that a label can do for you on your own now. It's harder to do it on your own, but it's not necessary to have a label to achieve that kind of success anymore. There are plenty of really big successful bands that are able to be totally independently successful nowadays.
And ideally, we would want to be one. Ideally, we would want to be one of those bands.
Yeah, honestly, like the thing that the positive with the label, it's 100%. I mean, just with the music industry in general, it's 100% about who you know and your connections. Absolutely. It doesn't matter how good you are, unless like you go viral. Like it's.
Well, it
you're
seems
gonna,
like
you're gonna have to network. You're gonna have to network, and
there was a good while where people didn't even want to admit that.
Yeah, it's
well, obviously you guys have made good connections because you were actually featured on Metal Injection.
Well, I mean, also we're the type of people who like, for example, like I got off a bus from Providence after helping my friend move, and legit went straight to St. Vitus for a Metal Injection party when I had work at 7 a.m. the next morning. Like it was.
You mean last Tuesday?
No, actually, it was a different one. It was a different party. It was one where Trevor was.
Yo, he's a party animal. You don't know this?
But that's just an example. That's dedication right there.
And like shit like that, it's like going out to local shows like Mauricio, Aaron, Anthony, like everybody goes to local shows. Caden, obviously, like he lives in Vegas. It's a whole different story. But,
I still love going to local shows.
Wait, he lives in Vegas?
Yeah, so Caden moved to Vegas.
He flew out just for this.
Yeah. That was perfect time.
Christmas had nothing to do with it at all.
But do you really live in Vegas?
Yeah, Caden moved to Vegas in September. That's why we had Jake fill in for our immolation gig. So, but honestly, like, no offense to everyone else, if there was a member to like move to like Narnia and whatever fuck,
it's
like
Caden.
It's Caden because he still gets shit done. He's still like he has the means to record himself at least a little bit, and like he's on the bare bones. And like,
here's the thing I gotta ask, because every musician loves to do music, but they don't love to do business. do you feel that it's necessary for a musician to know businessship?
100%. Yes.
100%.
We want to make this our careers. Like
Literally
we're
not
very serious
possible to
about
be
this
successful
product.
without knowing how to operate your band as a business.
Exactly.
Because if a label does reach out to you, why would they reach out to you if you're not acting like a business?
Right. And I feel like a lot of bands are they kind of have this vision of what it's supposed what they imagine
No
it to
pun
be
intended.
like.
A vision.
Not,
Not
a solemn vision.
Wait, real quick.
They have a poison idea of it.
Not to say that there's anything wrong with being a band and just using it maybe as a hobby or just like just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Right. But there would just acknowledge that there are in fact bands that do want to make this to a brand and a business.
Right.
So
like us. Like I said, every situation is going to be different because
there's two different sides of the world.
So wait a minute. So wait a minute.
Are going to offer different.
So wait a
things
minute. Do you feel that has been a deciding factor in bands in New York City?
It's not a deciding factor for one side. You know what I mean? It's like it's not a deciding factor for all. It's like more of like if you want to do like a business, do like a business. If you don't, then don't. It's a lot easier to say that.
Honestly, like
all right, bitch.
Not to
all right, bitch.
All right.
I'm gonna be 100% not to throw like shade, but the reason there hasn't been a lot of signings in New York is because people haven't been putting in the work on the business side. Like New York is the fucking like capital of music. Like all the biggest magazines and like a lot of every label like that matters has.
And I always say bands come
like
here.
almost every label that matters has an office in New York. Like everything's happening in New York, and like I feel like, I mean, obviously, like I said, every situation is going to differ, but like. As far as it depends on if you want, like Moontooth, I don't think they're signed, and like they're doing.
They just got signed.
I hear them so often on Liquid Metal,
and they got Crux re-released on the label, so their last release is getting.
So yeah, sometimes some people do re-releases, and that really works. And like honestly, but like also Moontooth is a band that's been putting in work like crazy, and like so it's just it just comes down to like you're in the middle of everything. You can like if you have a good enough product and you can market it and you put in that extra effort, like every little thing counts, like because there's so much there's so many people in New York City and there's so much going on.
Yeah, there's like 15 million people in New York City.
The little details in what you're doing definitely matters.
Yeah, but
because like
a very small percentage of the metal scene,
even as little as going to
and
local
even that's
shows.
Big.
Because like you can't expect people to support you if you're not out there. You're
gonna hear this general consensus with so many other freaking podcasts. Everybody talks about music. The thing about New York is that there's so much talent. There's so much music. It's so much going on. Like New York bands locally have to spread out. They have to get out there.
Yeah, but how can they spread out? There's no goddamn venues.
They can't spread out here.
Venues. No, he means spread out to other states.
Other states.
Like you need to get your.
Which is why we've been like focusing on.
Well, even in that.
And I like the fact that you guys actually go out of state.
And even in that,
that's definitely progression on your part.
Even in that too, what Derek just said, it's hard to even find venues in those other states too.
You can't find them anymore because I mean this isn't the 90s or the early 2000s where they were prevalent.
They get sold out
because like those scenes out of state are so spread apart because those venues are so spread apart from each other.
Well, not only that, but because the accessibility of the internet. I mean, you have to understand, nobody is going to want to spend $10 to see yo ass live when they can see it on Facebook Live.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
He's right though because listen, I love.
I just got that way.
I love cow decapitation, right? I love cow decapitation. I'm gonna see them. I'm gonna see them on the
Cattle
boat.
decap.
Right. I'm gonna see them on the boat
on Instagram Live.
Right. I can see them on Instagram Live or YouTube when they post the video that they just posted about their newest album that came out.
I can't tell you how many times I've been home from shows and I've seen Facebook Live, Instagram Live. Oh my god!
But that is actually a form of promotion.
Because for me, like it makes me want to go see that band.
It's a good.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's bullshit that people do that, but I think it's bullshit to suggest that is a substitute for the live experience.
It's less personal, less interactive.
Sorry.
How dare you?
I think what you're talking about, Derek, is that how bands charge tickets for shows.
I'm talking about the financial aspect.
The financial aspect being that people will see it on live.
Because at the end of the night, what record labels care about is how many people you can bring to the table.
Absolutely, that's
if you have 30 people watching you on Instagram Live, that's $300 less than what you have. Aaron's like, give me the mic, motherfucker.
Yeah,
let's go, Mike. Let's go.
No, I'm with you so far. I am. So, do you think labels pay attention to views?
I definitely think so, right?
Yeah.
they
Actually,
should-
no. They do. They will follow. They will follow your ticket sales.
The thing about labels. Hold on.
But
social
do they
media
pay attention
followers.
to clicks? They pay attention
Wait,
to
wait,
YouTube
wait.
reviews.
Hold the phone. Because nowadays you can fucking buy them shits. You can buy.
That's hold on. But you can tell. You can tell when people are buying.
Is it's really obvious when people have bought followers
You can
because
tell
when
when
you
people
find a
are
profile, when
you
you
could-
find a
you could
profile
just
that
Absolutely.
has 30,000 followers, but like single-digit engagement on all of
Right.
their clicks, it's really
we-
obvious.
Well,
Yeah.
you can also tell because if you actually, I mean, if you they actually like a lot of people in the industry actually have programs. They have a program that has an algorithm to tell whether these likes are fake or not.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, because we do this,
Even
because
it's as
you
simple
know.
as just clicking on the likes.
Yeah,
and
but
just, like,
regardless,
looking at it and you see a bunch of people from Indonesia and like.
regardless, you still need to have the attendance sheet.
No, absolutely no.
And this is what people don't understand. So when you have bands that have 65, 70,000, I'll give you a prime example. City Morgue. Oh, yeah, we're going to bring that bitch up. Revolver
Briefly.
Revolver Magazine promoted a band called City Morgue, and they have no Twitter engagement, no Instagram
They were chosen as
engagement.
Apple Music's #1
They're-
rock.
No,
rap
incorrect. No. They were in the top 5 for hip hop and rap, and Apple Music put them in the top 2 for rock. Revolver picked them up to do a promotion, and they're not rock music.
And a lot of their social media is
Their
this.
social media is mostly
And it was
not
created
organic.
last year.
Yeah, literally created last year, and they have 125,000 followers. So yeah.
What was the last single that
sounds like
came out?
it.
What did the last single that came out?
I don't know
sound
because
like?
I don't listen to City
Well,
Morgue.
also, hold on,
That's what I'm
guys.
saying.
Guys, hold on. Keep in mind, some people they pay a stupid amount of money for like actual tangible like
this
ad
this
results.
shows.
So it'll be ads.
But
and,
this is the problem. How is a record label able to tell who's really watching on Instagram?
no, but that's what I'm
as to
saying.
who's
No,
in
but this is what I'm saying. People will pay for ads, and that'll get them like actual
that's true,
legit
yes,
organic
right.
likes.
Yeah, so you can pay
when
to
you pay for
promote
ads.
it.
Wait, hold on. What is
Pay
it?
for
Wait.
promotion versus paying for likes. Because
Yeah,
when you
but
pay for
no,
likes,
yeah,
it's
that's totally different.
computer
No,
generated
totally
likes.
understandable.
Yeah,
but
but what's Derek asking?
Yeah, but what I'm asking is about the attendance at shows. You can.
So,
you
okay,
can
so
throw
actually, I can
down-
tell you.
Hold on, bitch. You could throw down an ad on like Metal Injection. I will say, hey, Solemn Vision is playing here. Check out this show, and it'll reach 200,000 people and only get clicked 60 times.
Okay, so
You have to understand that's what record labels really look for.
some people, booking agents specifically, like they'll call up a venue, they'll call up a promoter. And
Absolutely,
they will-
'cause that's
they will
what they're
100%
supposed to do.
Yeah, they'll 100% check up on it
Good,
and just
yeah,
literally
yeah, yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
This is 100% a thing that
because
and
they want
that's
to
how
make sure that their money is going
that's
in the
how they
right
find out.
place.
They
Isn't
do
that
the
crazy,
groundwork
though?
and they actually look it up. They do
Isn't
the
that-
groundwork.
I just listen. What you just said that though, isn't that crazy that after those moves happen, you see those same bands that you thought blow up kind of die down after? Because those people will make those calls like you just said, right? And the promoter will be straight up. They're not as big as you thought.
Like they brought 8 people.
They got 10 some views on YouTube,
But
they
that's
only
the
brought,
problem.
That is the problem. You're
That's a
100% right.
huge
Yeah, you are.
problem.
I work at a nightclub and I've seen it with my own eyes. I will not say where I work, but
I almost did.
not. I've seen them where we've had bands that come in like, oh, they have this much on social media, they have these many followers, and then like because not of some of the books anymore, but in the past it would happen
Yeah.
that people would come in because they have it's a big name, they have this many followers on social media, blah 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 blah, and literally 2 people show up.
Yeah, well, it
happens a lot, actually.
It's like that with the attendance for a venue. Because, I mean, let's face it. If you have, like, the ultimate mega tour, I know you do, so you see what happens when
Derek, you ever heard a band say a show was sold out? Say a show was sold out.
Say that 5 times fast, Aaron.
They say a show was sold out, but then you realize
There's no proof
And you
of
know
it?
what?
There's no proof, and they probably bought out the rest of those
why-
tickets.
But this is why I
bought
wanted
the
you
rest of
guys
those fucking
here.
You're talking about people having resources that other bands don't have. I want to know who
Yeah.
these people are that can buy out their own shows tickets.
Well, the thing is, they just have money. Some people, they'll start a band after they already have a regular successful like normie career.
But in New York City,
normie career.
being in New York City,
they take off the cornflower blue tie and
they don't have this fucking bartender, fucking cook. They take off the fucking Uber drivers. Like, no, it's not.
But this is the reason why I wanted you guys here, because I've been to a couple of your shows. Sadly, only 2 because I've been to 1.
I gotta admit
we live all the way the fuck up here. It's all good. But the 2 times that I have gone to your shows, you guys have really packed that place out, and I've seen photos on social media.
She hated it.
It's all organic. So you have to build a fan base first before you even do all these things.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you just said that right now, because
with the assist,
when it comes to just like being. I think when it comes to being successful as a band, you need to. I mean, so how do I say this? Being successful as an artist, being successful as
say with your chest
in anything at all, no matter what your circumstances are, whether you are fortunate enough to have a lot of money to begin with, or whether you come from nothing at all, being successful in anything at all, there's always an element of luck, right? Like
that's true.
That's true. Yeah. For like in anything, no matter what the medium is, whether it's art or business or whatever it may be, there's always an element of luck.
There's always going to be luck, no matter where you look at it.
But you also, especially when it comes to art, where it's so hard to be successful because music is so like saturated now. It's so easy for people to create music.
You
need to. No.
Well,
the point is, you need to really put in the work, and you need to care about, especially when it comes to music, when you're in a band, you're part of a community, whether you want to be or not.
Absolutely.
If you start a band, especially in a city like New York, where there's such a active, thriving music scene, you become part of a community if you're going to be out there and playing shows, and you need to be invested in other people's success as well as your own. You can't go to people's shows because you're going like, if I go to this show, I'm going to get something out of it. You can't view the relationships that you build with other artists and other bands as transactional. And this is why, honestly, Carlos has done really, really well with how he goes to shows so often and how
fuck that guy.
He goes to shows so often and he goes to these industry events, but it's not just because he's trying to do stuff for us.
It's because he wants liquor.
It's because he actually gives a shit about the bands that are playing, and he actually is legitimate, genuine friends with lots of people who are there. You can't view the relationships that you make with people in the community that you're part of as transactional, because people are going to see through that immediately. You need to be 100%. Invested in other people's success as well as your own, because if you're not, then other people are not going to be invested in your success. And if other people are not invested in your success, you can't be successful.
I agree. No, totally. And I see Carlos at all these shows. I mean, he's a familiar face. He's not at a show and be like, "Where's Carlos?" Because he's at every freaking show I go to.
And this is the part where Bo has to
if I can just interject, I got to bounce, unfortunately, but I just really wanted to thank Caden for that insight, because that is something that I think is missing a lot not missing a lot, but it's something that we should be fostering more in our local scene, is that we aren't transactional. People aren't just getting something from, you don't just do something because you're going to get something out of it. Yeah, sure. But it's also about building that support network and supporting your fellow bands. But on that note, I gotta run. Y'all keep on doing this thing.
There's a new tournament member. Thank you, Uncle Bobo.
Hey, wait, we got extra mic now.
Yeah, you get an extra mic now. It's been an honor talking with all you guys.
Thank you.
Have a happy New Year if I don't see you before then. Safe travels to Miami. Safe travels back to Vegas. Happy holiday of your choice. And I'll check all that later.
I like that. That's cool.
To you as well.
Thank you, man.
Cheers, man. Yeah. And building on what he said, there's actually something that our friend Jason Leckberg actually told us.
Ew.
So, a rising tide helps all boats float, or something like that.
Shut up.
It's essentially a rising tide helps all boats float. Something along those lines.
You know what's in those tides sometimes?
Basically,
AIDS, crabs in a barrel.
Basically,
bars.
You know what? He said the same thing you guys said. Touched up on that. There's not a lot of New York City metal bands really breaking through. So, if you help another band out, that's only gonna help you. That's only gonna put more eyes on the scene.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem. When you help each other out, it's not necessarily about talent. It's about it's like a corporation.
So
this guy sucks. But I know him, so he's gonna be the CFO, even though he has no experience.
That's when we can start talking about the business of show business.
Oh, all right, James Brown. All right,
there's some truth to this.
No, I know there is.
I want to hear it.
If your friends suck, you gotta tell them they suck.
No, it's true. You have to, but this is the problem. When you have musicians that are friends together,
it's very
regardless,
easy for them to put them over just because they're friends.
Absolutely, it's like wrestling.
And bro, I was literally about to say that. Yeah, no, because the thing about coming into the music industry, I grew up on wrestling, and there's a talk about putting people over, right? Right? No, Derek.
I'm listening.
It's about putting people over.
No, it's true. But this is the bad news.
That is bad news.
If you have a band that has been around for 10 years, 12 years, and a band that has been around for 2 months, 4 months.
But let's apply that to wrestlers. Let's apply to wrestlers now. You got wrestlers who've been around for 10 years or so, and then you want to put another newbie over. Right,
that's a whole new podcast, but I get what you're saying.
But no, it's still showbiz though. It's still showbiz.
Yeah, but that's the bad news.
Yeah,
it doesn't see, and this is what's scary.
You can't expect that newbie to be put over just because you like them.
Absolutely, you can't. But because they sell, regardless of record sales or regardless of EPs out, as long as they sell a room, that's all that matters.
Yeah,
this is the scary shit about what happens with musicians and with bands. Record labels don't want to know what you have. They want to know what you can pack. If you can pack in a full fucking room, you're in business. I know bands that I'm working with at this point and have worked with for 10 years. Oh, we don't need a music video. Oh, we don't need a photo shoot. Oh, we don't need an EP. We just need our attendance records. And it's like, dude, you can't say you need your attendance records when you've been playing the same venue for 5 years. And not touring on top of that.
And on top of that, watching bands just as old as your sons and daughters playing over you.
Absolutely.
Like, honestly, it doesn't matter if you could bring 200 people to your show in New York. If you can't bring out 40 people in Boston,
it's about consistency.
It's about like in other areas.
So in a sense, we kind of have it really good here.
So like,
if you're in a band here in New York City, you kind of have.
Absolutely,
you have it really good here.
100%.
I mean, because the venues here are pretty fucking lenient.
You're only born. But you're definitely born to do great things.
No, I'm just saying. I just mean like as far as like labels, like they don't like if you're doing really good in your hometown, but you're not doing good anywhere else, then they don't have a reason to invest in you.
Look, I remember
they want you to have like shit going on in other places. Like
right.
I remember back in.
We keep building outside.
That's why we're playing outside of New York.
Yeah, I remember back in
2050.
Bands can do that, but it's about a consistent basis.
Yeah,
if you're able to bring in 70 people on a Tuesday night, the day before freaking tax release, tax return is due, then that's a different story. You gotta the odds have to be stacked.
Yeah.
That's the way that is. That's why if you look at it back in 2013, 2014, everybody was getting signed from Columbus in Ohio. And there was like 4 or 5 major bands that were signed from Ohio, including Starset, who were signed to
Miss May I.
Oh, Miss May I was another one, but Miss May I has been around for years. They've been around since like 2007.
I thought they were like 09.
No, they've been around for a while. They've been around for a long time.
I forget.
Yeah,
I was fucking with them in high school.
I forget how.
We all do. Yeah, but you gotta understand, if you have a concentration of musicians that are willing to pass the status quo of their demographic, then they're gonna get signed easily.
Yeah.
And it's true that there is an oversaturation of bands and musicians here in New York City, but it's what about what you can do with your art that really sells?
Well, with that said, I want to ask you guys, what were some of the best moments of this year or the last year for you guys as a band?
This year specifically?
For me,
Tupac got shot.
I think probably the best.
I know that.
For me, probably the best part of this year was playing the out-of-state shows and seeing them more packed out than the first time that we played out there.
Okay.
Yeah, we did a tour back in 2017 with Spectral Voices, and yeah, like you could definitely see a like tangible difference when we played like Massachusetts, like Worcester and stuff like that. And we played Boston again last like November.
Actually, it's the first time I ever played Boston.
Sorry, first time. Well, we played Massachusetts again in November, and like we had solid crowd, and like we can see when we can see our like efforts come to like a tangible result where we can actually be like, boom, there's X amount of people. that feels really good.
So which state do you guys like? Actually, what's your favorite state to play
Mississippi.
So to be fair, the only places that we've played multiple times would be Massachusetts and
Soon to be Florida.
Providence.
Rhode Island.
Wait. Where in Rhode Island? Where in Rhode Island?
Providence.
I know, but what venue?
Alchemy.
We played Alchemy twice.
We've only done Alchemy so far.
Okay.
Okay, so wait a minute. Was Alchemy Club Hell back then?
I have no idea.
No, it's Alchemy both times.
It's Alchemy both times? Okay, cool.
Irrelevant.
So
No, it's not relevant. I used to live in Rhode Island, so I'm curious.
No. It was 2017, so it was still kind of relatively recent. But yeah, the only place we've really played more than once are Massachusetts and Rhode Island and Jersey too.
So those were the ones that you
Also
actually
Jersey,
really
so-
coming back,
No,
coming
it's
back,
not
or coming
that.
back
It's
to.
not necessarily that we enjoyed it more. It was just those are the only two that we just happened to have the opportunity
Yeah.
to play at.
To come back to basically.
But
in terms of
Yeah.
Oh, good. Now I'll use this microphone.
Canada is fun both times.
I'm learning.
well, it was opposite sides of Canada. Though.
Yeah.
Vancouver was British Columbia was incredible.
That was the opposite side of the fucking world.
Yeah,
Almost, sort
Vancouver.
of.
For me personally, my favorite places to play. Well, obviously I love Florida. Central
Microphone?
Florida.
Of course. Hey.
Lakeland. Central Florida.
That's me
really,
too.
that's why I shouted you out. No, Central Florida. Like even though we've only played Central Florida once, I still have people down there that wear our shirts, bump our music, hit me up constantly. Like we're playing Miami next week. I have some heads coming from like the Tampa, Orlando area to come drive to Miami to see us. So
Wow.
Florida really fucks with us.
That's amazing right there.
That's a hell of a drive.
It is 3 hours.
I feel like as far as distance goes, the places that really fuck with us is like Vancouver and Florida. We got really good reception out there, and
Yeah, we did.
Awesome.
and oddly enough, we have like a following in Finland and Australia.
I was just gonna ask that. So
Australia,
wait a minute,
too.
hold on. I gotta ask. I mean, are you guys gonna like maybe plan to put something in the works for actually going to Finland or Norway?
That would have to, honestly, that would have to be 2021.
When we get more established in our own country, we'll go out to other countries.
Gotta be neighborhood before you go Hollywood.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm not necessarily because I think
to an extent. Okay. So here's the thing. So here's the thing.
Money in Finland.
It's about
before LA.
It's about connections.
The thing is that we're really broke also.
and if
We're really broke also.
If the opportunity arises, like
yeah.
We have to solicit ourselves
I
as
did a lot of
sailors.
networking. I did a lot of networking when I went to Finland this last summer.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
We got on this awesome Finnish magazine called Tuonella, and they
was perfect.
I know.
Oh,
right?
was that a
I
Finnish
know
accent?
it was.
Carlos is blushing.
Wait, he's using that 23andMe
That
status.
was
That's what that is. That's my 1% finish right there.
That would be Aaron.
Anyway, moving
Clap
on.
for me, bitch.
Point is, we've gotten some good reception, and it's just we still need to build on that and really reach out as far as like through the internet and like through media.
Talking
and
to the mic.
We got to reach out as far as like the internet and media for that stuff, and really build a presence out there before we
Right.
can take that financial risk. Because honestly, nobody in the band makes like big more money. Like honestly,
I mean,
not
but,
gonna lie.
Mauricio does.
But obviously,
Like we can take care of ourselves, but we don't have. We can take care of
ourselves.
ourselves, but like as far as like putting in for the band the way like a lot of other people do to like
Part two is
put
the
these
band.
like drastic expenses, that's a lot. Like we're doing obviously like we're getting by on our regular lives, but like
of course.
but it's
right.
it's an investment and it's a lot, and we can't afford to do that quite yet because it's even a matter of like renting equipment and stuff,
Yeah.
and that
It's a
comes
big,
down
it's a
to
big, it's a
And
big
renting
step.
members.
yeah,
That is
renting.
renting.
And, yeah, but anyway, I feel like the first step is like if we could hook up with some like festivals, like
Yeah,
that's
I was just
doable.
gonna say that.
perfect.
I mean,
Well,
if you guys were
that's
actually
we
able
won't
to
be
get on
do
a huge
we're
bill
not gonna be
like
able to
that.
do a tour anytime soon unless we're brought on by another band. But like,
So I just want to say this, that I think a lot of other countries, especially in Europe, the culture surrounding live music is different than in a lot of places here in this country.
100%.
So
They're more
one
dedicated out there, I feel like.
One very unique and special experience that I had was I went on a trip to London with my wife, and we have a small number of friends out in London. It's not like we know a whole bunch of people out there. but we're like, you know, because right now at the time, Sorrowseed, which is our band, you know, it's just the two of us right now. So when we play shows, we don't play shows very often now because it's only the two of us right now. But we just play guitar and vocals, and we use backing tracks. And because of that, it's really easy to, you know, to play in, you know, anywhere, because our whole gear is like my guitar, her microphone, and my laptop. You know, that's everything.
Hey, some of the biggest of bands use backing tracks right now. I mean, it's
Rush.
you have to do it.
Right, and so when we went to London, we were like, let's see if we can try to, you know, hop on some kind of show while we're in London, play a show out there. And so we managed to get ourselves on a bill at this venue down in Camden, and it was actually insane, like, how packed this show was. It wasn't like, it was just like a random, like, Saturday night or something, and the only other bands on the bill were this local band that was like they were really, really young, and like honestly they weren't really very good, you know, like nobody was coming to see them, obviously.
They suck.
And then the other band was a band from Edinburgh, which was called Iron Altar. Shout outs to those guys, they were fucking awesome, but like they're not super big or anything, so I can't imagine they, you know, drew like a super huge crowd. It really seemed to me like the crowd at this place, which was big, like the venue was fucking packed, was mostly people who just came out because there was a show that night. And a lot of the people probably didn't necessarily know any of the bands, but they just came out because there was a show. And I feel like that sort of culture is a lot more common in European countries than
very common
in a lot of places here in the States. So
ain't that the truth?
Obviously the whole thing about like making connections and building a fan base before you financially commit is true, but at the same time I think it's an easier commitment to go to Europe
than
it is necessarily to go like really far in this country, because like people are so much more willing to come out in Europe, even if they don't know you.
I would 100% agree on that. I've been saying for years, I think before we even do another North America run, we should really consider a Western and Northern European run. I think it'd be even more financially like smart than going to California again. And I would love to go to California and the West Coast again.
Yeah, like
just because of that market.
Exactly,
Europe.
but you definitely even if you haven't made it in your hometown,
Made
at least
it.
you know that if there's a market for your band, for the kind of music that you play,
Absolutely.
you should definitely take that chance.
you- Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't have to necessarily be huge here, you know. But
And because of that silence, that means that the podcast is over.
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, we're back out here.
so I mean, before we end this, I just kind of going to get a rundown of the equipment that you guys use. What are
okay.
guitars, cymbals,
Could go in order.
microphones.
Mauricio.
So my favorite guitar to use is the an Ibanez that I've had since 17 years ago.
It's a
I bought
ukulele.
it 17 years ago, actually. I've been using the same guitar. Barely had to, you know, really do any work on it. So it's held up pretty well, pretty solid for all these years. I use that for the recording, and I also use the Opeth PRS as well for the recording.
Paul Reed Smith.
Yep.
Yeah, we might be a little into Opeth. I don't know.
just a smidge, just a smidge.
Bropeth.
And I also use a pedal board, the Boss GT100. I initially started with the 10, and this is because, once again, Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth, he was using a Boss GT8, I think, and I wanted to get that, but it was like it wasn't being sold anymore, so I just went for the next model. Okay. And it's worked out so far for us, for me.
Mr. Vegas, you're next.
I'm not sponsored by Schecter, but I proudly use Schecter guitars.
But you're a conglomerate of Schecter, aren't you?
I wish.
Oh, Mr. Harris.
I'm not trying to say this so somebody can come rob me, but it's a limited edition.
It's a limited edition Howard Jones.
There was only maybe 2 shorts sold left. Made by one of his cousins. Fucking
The Hojo Cuz.
Yep. Shure microphone. Super 55, all black, limited edition, good shit.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's a beaut.
Oh,
nice.
I call it the Black Beauty.
I'm not surprised.
I'm a massive fan of ESP basses, ESP LTD series, because that's what I can afford.
Mm-hmm.
I play an ESP LTD B335 currently, but I'm a big fan of the B series in general, the ESP B series, and I exclusively use Ernie Ball, Slinky,
Okay.
and Super Slinky, regular Slinky, blah.
Who's been drinking?
Okay.
I've been
bro.
drinking Ernie Ball Super Slinkies and ESP First Strings and ESP LTD B335 series and ESP LTD Beat series in general. I am not endorsed, but I would love to be endorsed by both.
You heard it here.
You heard it here. And we're saving the ugly for last. Carlos.
Now this big ass list. No,
I use Zildjian.
My name is Carlos.
My name is Carlos.
I use pasties.
I use pasties. Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Okay, so
Would you look at that? Time is up.
so currently I use Tama drums. I use Remo drum heads. I use Vic Firth sticks. And I'm kind of
tired of
endorsed.
this fucking podcast.
I'm endorsed
we know.
by T Symbols.
Hey guys, what you guys
Oh,
doing?
you
after?
endorsed? You're actually
Yeah,
What's the square root of this apartment?
So
What you guys doing after this?
that's cool. T Symbols I've actually been using little by little. I mean, drumming is expensive.
guys hear that?
Cymbals are expensive as fuck.
Yeah.
So I had to build up my setup over a couple of years, but now like as the last maybe 4 years, I've had like an actual full T cymbal setup, and I'm actually gonna be ordering more soon.
very cool.
But
Awesome.
Very
so yeah,
more
that's
symbols.
yeah, they're sick, handmade, super unique, and you should check them out.
But the whole band is sponsored by OnlyFans.
Might as well. be.
And
I think we're finished, right? I think we're postponed till further notice.
1999.
Actually, real quick, since we're talking about his gear, his bass drum, his floor drum, right?
My bass drum, yeah.
Yes. It has the
floor drum.
There's a floor. I am sorry. That's guitar speak. Don't worry.
I am uncultured, so I'm with drums. So
I have a floor tom,
not the
and
floor
then
tom,
not
no.
the floor tom. No, the bass drum.
Jesus
The
Christ.
sad part is I had a drum set at one point too. So
Moving on.
That is sad.
so yes. So his God damn it, what's it called? His bass drum. His bass drum has the band logo on it. His bass drum has the band logo on it.
Okay, can we just cut this part out because that's what any official ass band should do.
No, but I wanted to.
Stop
But I
being a
wanted to
dick,
say. I
Carlos.
wanted to say
I'll
about
cut your
how
shit out.
he got it when we were still called Spectral Voices. So it's also kind of a way of how we came into the name because he already got that done and
Yeah, we want to keep the acronym. It looked really fucking cool. The
Yeah.
SV looked really fucking cool.
I actually did. I wanted to get to that, but we got carried away with ourselves.
Please do not endorse the fact that we are going to
Derek.
get sued by Spectral
So
Voice.
Can we come back for part two?
What?
Can we do a part two?
And there you have it.
Yeah, that might be reason.
And that's our cue to exit.
No.
On
Wait,
that
hold on.
note-
No, I'm not done yet. All right, so wait. I'm sorry. On that note, Solemn Visions. Or Vision, sorry. Solemn Vision,
Yo,
not
we
Visions.
did one interview with somebody did the same
Because
mistake.
I'm also getting voices.
Fuck them.
Visions and voices. So,
yeah.
but,
Now we get
so Solemn Vision. Where was the thought process on that?
We were brainstorming a lot of names. Aaron actually is the one who came up with Solemn Vision.
Thank you,
itself.
Aaron.
We were pretty much going between that and another name, and we voted on it. That's pretty much the end of it. We wanted to keep the acronym, so we attempted to find, mainly because we figured we went on this big 3-week tour across the U.S. and we wanted it to be something where like it'd be easy for people to like kind of click. You know, Spectral Voices, Solemn Vision will be like.
Did you say
if
Spectral
you're not
Voices?
super familiar with the band, like you can kind of remember that
I'm
name
sorry,
more
everyone missed
easily
that, okay.
than if it was just some completely left field other name. Coming from Spectral Voices to Solemn Vision, it's a little more the bugs in your ear, so it's
Yeah.
like easier to like just transition into it. And the bass drum looked fucking sick. So yeah, basically.
About the SV initials.
I'm glad you guys kept the SV actually.
Yeah, it looks
It
really
was
good and embroidered.
Yeah,
like,
we have patches.
we have patches.
Really.
We just figured the bugs in people's ears, and it'll be easier to click.
I feel like it rolls
earwigs.
off the tongue a lot better.
So a little fun fact I want to add to that is because in between the year 2018 when we're kind of on the hiatus when we're recording the record, we did about 2 local shows and we constantly just used the SV logo. We never explicitly called ourselves Spectral Voices, only SV as a natural as a natural transition.
Okay.
Because we stopped calling ourselves Spectral Voices unofficially in like 2017. So
Okay.
throughout 2018, SV's playing the show, SV, like a cool acronym.
Yeah.
Then 2019, we dropped the bomb as, by the way, we're Solemn Vision now.
Yeah.
But people still like, how's SV doing? Because it was an easy transition for people to remember, and it actually fucking worked.
It did. It did. I mean, I was like shocked. I was like, what? I was like, oh my god, they changed their name.
Plot twist.
How am I ever gonna find them now?
We came up with Solemn Vision like November of 2017.
Yeah, and it works because if you guys read, we clearly are not very good at writing happy lyrics. So
what gave that away?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's just
Drunk text my ex metal.
Drunk text my
That's what happened. That's how we like it. Sad lyrics.
And on that note, we're gonna drunk text each other later.
Hold on,
oh boy.
There we go again.
Disclaimer.
There's gonna be a lot of on that notes
cuts. With this, though, I actually do want to ask you guys what's going to be happening for tours or shows in 2020.
So we're in the middle of booking. We're gonna do a nice solid run in.
You guys are playing
June.
Bermuda.
Sure. Oh yeah, totally. No,
specifically in the triangle.
So of course,
in Bermuda.
Yes, you got the joke. Yes, Air 5.
so of course we have that awesome 70,000 tons pre-party.
Of course,
going on January 5th in Miami. But besides that, like we have an unannounced gig in February. We're gonna do like a couple out-of-state shows in March.
Chippendales.
Sure. It's
sweet.
TBA.
You want, baby.
But yeah, but February is gonna be a local show, first local show of the year, and then March we're gonna do like 2 out-of-state shows, and then maybe something in April. And honestly, after that, we're gonna wait until June. We're doing like a small run. It's gonna be cool. We're gonna announce it with a lot of shit going on. That music video that we've been working on should be ready by then.
And also, real quick, just a little side plug real quick. I'm, by the time this comes out, I don't know when, but in March, I'm going to be filling in on vocals for another band called Telok Vovin, playing at St. Vitus with Possessed and Pestilence.
Ooh.
Wow.
So I'll be filling in on vocals for Telok Vovin for that show. So
from the consensus of the band, it looks like that will never make the air.
That's on March 27th on our Friday, but that's Telok Vovin. What Carlos was talking about was Solemn Vision. So that's a thing.
All right, and guys, if you're listening right here, you can catch Solemn Vision on Facebook, Instagram. Check out their Bandcamp. It's solemnvision.bandcamp.com.
Literally everything is just @/Solemn Vision. We try to keep it simple, so it's really easy to find.
Solemn Vision. Check them out on Facebook, on Instagram, and if you get a chance, buy their digital album on the Bandcamp. It's self-titled.
And our physical.
And the physical as well.
And if you buy a physical, you might have a chance to take one of them home that night. So you never know.
No, but seriously, if you get the physical, it's they've got great album art here that you'd appreciate. So check them out. When's your next show, by the way? Besides the Miami show,
this is gonna get cut out.
So it's gonna be
announced soon.
It's gonna be announced very soon. It's gonna be.
Is it?
I believe February 28th, but yeah,
we'll cut it out.
That's all we can say. Details to be announced.
Got it.
But on that note,
sorry about that.
But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we have Solemn Vision over here. Thank you guys so much for all coming and enjoying yourselves.
Yeah, it's really been it's been an honor to have you guys here. Thank you so much for talking with us.
It's fun.
It's been a madhouse to all of you here, and if you are still listening, kudos to you. And may 2020 be ever in your favor.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, and if you're in Miami, check them out. Heavy Metal Beach Party.
Yeah, bitch. What the fuck?
Bitch!
Heavy Metal Bitch Party.
Heavy Metal Bitch Party.
Heavy Metal Bitch Party.
And that's our cue to exit. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah.